1. Robert Reed. He played Mike Brady on The Brady Bunch, which ran from 1969 to 1974, America's perfect dad, the wise, patient patriarch of a blended family that millions of viewers wished they had. Robert Reed played him for 5 seasons. What most people watching never knew was that Reed was a closeted gay man who lived in constant fear that his secret would destroy everything. On screen, he was the ideal husband to Florence, Henderson's Carol. Off-screen, Henderson noticed early on that Reed appeared deeply uncomfortable acting romantically with her. He eventually admitted the truth to her privately. The entire cast kept his secret until after his death. Reed rarely answered questions about his personal life, spending most of his time alone. Occasionally cruising gay bars around Pasadena. He had married a college classmate in 1957 and had a daughter, but the marriage ended in 1959. He died on May 12, 1992, at age 59. The official cause was colon and bladder cancer, but his death certificate revealed something else. Reed was HIV-positive, diagnosed the previous year. His on-screen daughter Susan Olsen later wrote that being gay killed her TV dad, not the disease, but the decades of hiding, the loneliness, the life he was never allowed to live. 2. Raymond Burr. He was Perry Mason on CBS from 1957 to 1966, and later Detective Robert Ironside on NBC from 1967 to 1975. He was one of the most recognizable faces on television for nearly 2 decades. Raymond Burr was also gay. But he and his publicist crafted one of the most elaborate cover stories in Hollywood history, a complete fiction. Burr claimed he had been married to a woman named Annette Sutherland, who died in the same plane crash that killed Leslie Howard. He claimed another marriage to Laura Morgan, with whom he allegedly had a son who died of leukemia at age 10. He claimed to have served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. None of it was true. Burr's grueling Perry Mason shooting schedule made it difficult to have any romance, and he used that as an excuse whenever anyone asked about remarrying. But on the set, he met actor Robert Benavides, who was 13 years his junior. They remained together for over 35 years until Burr's death in 1993. Burr died on September 12, 1993, at age 76. He took his secret to the grave. 3. Paul Lindy. He was Uncle Arthur on Bewitched Samantha's mischievous, campy warlock uncle and the center square on the Hollywood Squares from 1968 to 1981. Paul Lindy's snarky, flamboyant persona was an open secret. He never officially came out, but his entire public image was a wink at his private life. He regularly topped audience polls of most liked TV stars and was admired by his peers. Mel Brooks once said, "Lindy could get laughs reading a phone book." But behind the laughter, Lindy struggled. He was plagued by alcohol and drug dependency. He agonized over never succeeding as an A-list Hollywood actor and struggled with his weight and his sexuality at a time when neither was accepted. Paul Lindy died on January 10, 1982, at age 55. He never publicly acknowledged what everyone in Hollywood already knew. 4. Dick Sargent. He was the other Darren Stevens on Bewitched, taking over the role in the show's 6th season after Dick York's departure and playing it for the final 3 years. Dick Sargent was offered the role in 1964, but was under contract with Universal and had to decline. Behind that famous TV face was a man who lived a rich, layered life entirely in secret. During a time when being openly gay could mean the end of a Hollywood career, Sargent lived as privately as he could. He had a partner for more than 20 years until the man's sudden death from a cerebral hemorrhage in 1979. He even manufactured a fictional wife for press interviews to protect his livelihood. Later, he found love with writer Albert Williams, who remained his partner until Sargent's death. In 1991, already battling prostate cancer, Sargent came out publicly on National Coming Out Day. He hoped to be a retroactive role model for young people struggling with their identity. He died on July 8, 1994, at age 64. 5. Richard Deacon. He played Fred Rutherford on Leave It to Beaver and Mel Cooley on The Dick Van Dyke Show. Richard Deacon was the button-down suit-and-tie character actor who always represented the establishment. He played straight on screen, but was secretly gay. In a late 1970s interview, Deacon was asked if he thought the public assumed he was gay. "Not even gays," he replied. Most would be surprised. Only because what you see on TV, a serious guy in a suit, unsmiling, isn't how anyone thinks of gay males. He was never cast as gay. He said asexual, often heterosexual now and then. Richard Deacon died of hypertensive heart disease on August 8, 1984. He was 62. 6. Hayden Rourke. He was Dr. Alfred E. Bellows on I Dream of Jeannie Major Nelson's suspicious commander, who could never quite prove that Jeannie was real. Hayden Rourke played the role from 1965 to 1970. In her 2011 memoir, Jeannie Out of the Bottle, Barbara Eden revealed that Rourke was unashamedly gay. He lived for many years with his partner, director Justice Addis, whom he met while filming Project Moonbase in 1953. Eden described Rourke as a prince and a good friend to all. Hayden Rourke died on August 19, 1987, at his home in Toluca Lake, California, of multiple myeloma. He was 76. 7. Dick Sargent. He was the other Darren Stevens on Bewitched, taking over the role in the show's 6th season after Dick York's departure, and playing it for the final 3 years. Dick Sargent was offered the role in 1964, but was under contract with Universal and had to decline. Behind that famous TV face was a man who lived a rich, layered life entirely in secret. During a time when being openly gay could mean the end of a Hollywood career, Sargent lived as privately as he could. He had a partner for more than 20 years until the man's sudden death from a cerebral hemorrhage in 1979. He even manufactured a fictional wife for press interviews to protect his livelihood. Later, he found love with writer Albert Williams, who remained his partner until Sargent's death. In 1991, already battling prostate cancer, Sargent came out publicly on National Coming Out Day. He hoped to be a retroactive role model for young people struggling with their identity. He died on July 8, 1994, at age 64. Jim Nabors. He was Gomer Pyle, the lovable, unworldly gas pumper on The Andy Griffith Show, who would exclaim, "Gol LL Lie," and later starred in his own spin-off, Gomer Pyle US.MC, from 1964 to 1969. Jim Nabors knew he was gay as a child. His homosexuality was no secret among his co-workers, but he preferred not to discuss it publicly for the sake of his privacy. For decades, rumors circulated, including one in the 1970s, that Nabors and then closeted Rock Hudson were to marry. Nabors never confirmed anything. He married his partner of 38 years, Stan Cadwallader, in early 2013 in Washington State, where gay marriage had recently been made legal. By then, Nabors was 82. He died on November 30, 2017, at age 87. 9. Charles Nelson Riley. He wasn't primarily a sitcom actor. He was the man in the colorful ascots on Match Game from 1973 to 1982, and later on Hollywood Squares. But Charles Nelson Riley was one of the few openly gay performers of his generation at a time when that was rarely seen on television. He recalled a network executive sneering that they don't let queers on television. Riley never hid his orientation. He was known for his double entendres and his flamboyant on-screen persona. But Hollywood began seeing him more as a game show panelist than an actor, something he came to regret. "You can't do anything else once you do game shows," he remarked in 2001. "You have no career." Riley won a Tony Award for his role in the Broadway musical How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying in 1962. He died on May 25, 2007, at age 76, from complications of pneumonia. He was survived by his partner of more than 25 years, Patrick Hughes. 10. Maurice Evans. He played Samantha's warlock father on Bewitched, the regal, disapproving patriarch who never quite approved of his daughter's mortal marriage. Maurice Evans was a classically trained Shakespearean actor who brought an air of dignity to the role. He was also gay. Like so many of his contemporaries, Evans kept his private life private in an era when exposure meant professional ruin. He died on March 12, 1989, at age 87. 11. Roddy McDowall. He wasn't primarily a sitcom star. He was Cornelius in the Planet of the Apes films, but Roddy McDowall appeared frequently on television sitcoms throughout the 1960s and 1970s. Guest starring on everything from The Dick Van Dyke Show to The Love Boat. McDowall was a closeted homosexual. He never married and had no children. He was known to have had relationships with several Hollywood actors, including Marlon Brando and Montgomery Clift. In 1974, the FBI raided McDowall's home and seized his collection of bootlegged classic films, a scandal that only added to the rumors about his private life. Roddy McDowall died on October 3, 1998, at age 70, from lung cancer. 12. Sal Mineo. He wasn't a sitcom regular. He was Plato in Rebel Without a Cause, the gay-coded teenager who develops a crush on James Dean. But Sal Mineo appeared on numerous sitcoms in the 1960s and 1970s, including The Patty Duke Show and The Odd Couple. By the 1970s, Mineo was openly gay and sexually liberated. He came out as bisexual in a 1972 interview and was in a long-term relationship with actor Courtney Burr III. His career was in the midst of a rebound when he was stabbed to death outside his West Hollywood apartment on February 12, 1976, after returning from a rehearsal. He was 37. 13. Tom Villard. He was Jay Bostwick on the 1980s NBC sitcom We Got It Made, one half of the bachelor odd couple who hired a live-in maid. Tom Villard was in the closet during the show's run, playing mostly straight roles. But toward the end of his life, Villard became one of the few actors in Hollywood in the early 1990s who chose to be open about his homosexuality and the challenge of living with HIV and AIDS. In February 1994, he went on Entertainment Tonight and told more than 13 million viewers that he was gay, that he had AIDS, and that he needed help. Tom Villard died of pneumonia and other complications of HIV/AIDS on November 14, 1994. He was just 40. 14. Alan Suze. He was a regular on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In from 1968 to 1970, the flamboyant, over-the-top performer who displayed stereotypically gay mannerisms. Alan Suze never publicly disclosed that he was gay. He feared that telling the truth about his sexual orientation would have ended his career. For young gay viewers in the late 1960s and early 1970s, Suze was one of the only gay men they could see on television. Many gay men came up to him and told him how important he was when they were young. Alan Suze died on December 1, 2011, at age 85. 15. Billy DeWolf. He was a character actor who appeared in the short-lived 1967 sitcom Good Morning World and guest starred on The Doris Day Show. Billy DeWolf was a closeted homosexual. He never married, and rumors about his sexuality persisted throughout his life and after. He specialized in playing effete, fussy characters at a time when the Hays Code prevented Hollywood from depicting homosexuality openly. He was the kind of performer who did such a good job playing men who were probably gay that audiences assumed the actor himself was probably gay. Billy DeWolf died on March 5, 1974, at age 67. 16. Jack Cassidy. He was a frequent guest star on sitcoms including Bewitched, Get Smart, and McCloud, and a regular on game shows like Match Game. Jack Cassidy was also a Tony Award-winning Broadway performer. He was married to actress Shirley Jones, with whom he had 3 sons, including actor and singer David Cassidy. After Cassidy's death, his son David revealed that his father was bisexual, a claim Shirley Jones backed up in her 2018 memoir, citing Cole Porter as one of her late husband's previous partners. Jack Cassidy died on December 12, 1976, at age 49. The official cause was smoke inhalation from a fire in his apartment. He took the full truth of his life to the grave. His family only discovered it later. 17. Franklin Pangborn. He wasn't a sitcom regular. He was a character actor who appeared in hundreds of films and television shows from the 1930s through the 1950s. But Franklin Pangborn was the godfather of Hollywood's gay-coded performer. He made a career of playing fussy, giddy, fastidious men, always well-tailored, always nervous, obviously gay without ever saying it. He was secretly gay in real life. For a time, he was the announcer on Jack Parr's Tonight Show. Franklin Pangborn died on July 20, 1958, at age 69. 18. John Ingle. He was the building superintendent Nathan Bookman on Good Times, often the target of JJ's jokes about his weight. John Ingle was a nightclub performer and comic actor. He kept his private life private. Johnny Brown died on March 2, 2022, 19. Agnes Moorehead. She was Endora on Bewitched Samantha's powerful, disapproving witch mother who never missed an opportunity to undermine her daughter's mortal marriage. Agnes Moorehead was one of television's most memorable character actresses. Paul Lindy, her fellow Bewitched cast member, claimed she was a lesbian, saying, "The whole world knows Agnes was a lesbian, I mean classy as hell, but one of the all-time Hollywood dykes." Others, including her close friend Debbie Reynolds, denied it. She was married to men but may have been bisexual. Agnes Moorehead died on April 30, 1974, at age 73. The truth of her private life remains one of Hollywood's most debated secrets. 20. Richard Chamberlain. He was not a sitcom star. He was Dr. Kildare in the 1960s medical drama and the lead in Shkoon and the Thorn Birds. But Richard Chamberlain was one of the most famous closeted actors in Hollywood history. He was a romantic leading man who built his entire career on being America's heartthrob, and he hid who he really was to keep it. In December 1989, a French women's magazine outed him. He denied it. He did not speak publicly about his homosexuality until he was 70 years old in his 2003 memoir, Shattered Love. He had been in a long-term partnership with actor Martin Rabbitt. Richard Chamberlain died on March 29, 2025, at age 90. He lived long enough to finally tell the truth, but for most of his career, he took it to the grave. These 20 men welcomed America into their living rooms every week. They made us laugh. They played fathers, husbands, neighbors, and friends, and for decades they lived in the shadows, terrified that the truth would destroy everything they had built. Some kept their secrets until their final breath. Others found the courage to speak, but only after the cameras stopped rolling. Only when the stakes had finally dropped. They were part of the fabric of American television from the 1950s through the mid-1990s, the three-network era. When prime time was the whole family. When Hollywood demanded a performance not just on screen, but off it. Their stories are the ones the cameras never showed.